Welcome to the Explainer. So let's jump right in. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing there's absolutely no electricity. And I'm not talking about a quick blackout for a few hours or even a day. I mean for 3 whole years. No phones, no cars, no computers, nothing. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating story from a source titled Survival Family. It literally illustrates exactly what happens when our modern world just suddenly goes dark.
So what actually happens when the modern world suddenly goes dark? I want you to pause for a second and really ask yourself that question. Imagine your own life right now, completely stripped of your smartphone, the internet, and, all those invisible modern conveniences we just totally take for granted. How long would you realistically last out there?
To explore this, our source introduces us to the Yoshi family in Tokyo. And right off the bat, the contrast in their daily lives is striking. Kind of like a lot of us today, the Yoshis live in close physical proximity, right under the exact same roof. But there's this massive emotional distance between them. The kids, Kenji and Yui, well, they're constantly glued to their phones. Yoshi, the dad, just zones out to the TV after work, while Mitsu, the mom, cooks with her tablet. Their entire world revolves around screens, not people. They barely even talk to each other. They're profoundly vulnerable to what's coming, and they don't even know it yet.
Then comes the morning. Everything changed. Yoshi wakes up late because, well, his alarm just didn't go off. Now, at first, you'd probably think, oh, it's just a dead battery, right? But it's not. There are no lights. The internet is completely gone. Even the building's massive backup generator is totally useless. Yui wakes up to a dead phone she assumed she forgot to charge. Suddenly, a very real panic starts to set in. You can't even call the power company to complain because the phone lines are entirely down. It's just silence.
And this immediately builds into a massive citywide paralysis. Think about how completely dependent we are on power just to physically move around. Elevators, gone. The Yoshis have to walk down dozens of flights of stairs. Trains and electric buses, abandoned right where they stand. People are just wandering the streets. Even getting into work becomes a huge physical hurdle. Yoshi gets to his office only to find the automatic doors won't open. They literally have to smash the glass just to get inside. And once they finally do, computers are dead, emails can't be sent, so getting any actual work done is completely impossible.
From there, the tension escalates incredibly fast. The degradation of Tokyo is horrifyingly rapid. On day 1, the power goes, and stores empty out of candles and batteries almost instantly. By day 3, the water stops flowing and the toilets fail. Schools and offices shut down entirely. Then, by day 7, the grid officially fails. The government announces it with absolutely no timeline for a fix, and evacuations begin. It gets so brutally hot and unsanitary that an elderly neighbor in the Yoshi's building tragically passes away. The city literally becomes a concrete trap.
The crucial turning point hits when Yoshi finally speaks to his boss, only to realize the company's entirely frozen. His boss delivers this chilling line: "The city is collapsing. I'm taking my family to the village." That's the moment it really clicks. The realization hits the Yoshis that they can't just sit around and wait for the government to rescue them. They have to abandon the frozen city if they want to survive.
And so begins their brutal journey.
Early one morning, the family packs up whatever they can physically strap onto their bicycles and officially starts their harrowing, desperate escape out of Tokyo, heading toward the countryside. But out on the road, the reality is absolutely shocking. $20. Because the supply chain has completely vanished, hyperinflation takes over immediately. The cost of a single bottle of water skyrockets to the equivalent of $20. They buy what they can, but their resources are incredibly finite.
The modern economy completely collapses all around them. Credit cards? Absolutely useless without electricity. They manage to reach the airport hoping to catch a flight, but everything is canceled to save fuel for absolute emergencies. Hotels are ruthlessly price gouging, charging 10 times the normal rate, and the desperation really escalates out on the road. People are forced to camp under bridges. One night, strangers actually steal the family's water. Kenji chases the thief down in the dark, only to find a starving father with a small child. It's completely heartbreaking. Kenji simply can't bring himself to take the water back.
This kind of desperation leads to some truly extreme measures. The elements start turning against them with violent rainstorms and broken bikes. Yoshi gets dangerously ill from drinking dirty river water. With their food supplies spoiled and literally zero options left, the children sink to a heartbreaking low. They're actually forced to buy and eat cat food just for sheer sustenance.
But then, a crucial shift happens. A kind old farmer takes pity on them and teaches them these vital pre-industrial survival mechanics. It requires a complete step-by-step unlearning of modern convenience. Step 1.
how to filter dirty water safely. Step 2, how to preserve meat with salt so it doesn't spoil. Step 3, how to identify and boil wild plants. This knowledge is a total game changer. It marks their profound transformation from totally helpless city dwellers into capable survivors.
The emotional roller coaster of survival really becomes extreme here. Think about day 43. Yoshi is reduced to begging for food at an empty market, literally touching a shopkeeper's feet in pure desperation. Fast forward to day 67, and the emotional high is immense. They actually manage to catch a wild boar. With the farmer's help, they butcher it, and as they finally sit down to eat a hearty meal, Yui starts crying. Not from sadness, but from pure, overwhelming relief.
But they soon face the abyss before a miraculous rescue.
Because just as they start to find their footing, they hit their absolute darkest moment on the road. While attempting a treacherous river crossing on a makeshift raft, a sudden storm hits. The raft is violently shattered. Yoshi falls into the raging water and just disappears. Kenji searches frantically everywhere, but all he finds is his father's wet cap. This leaves the shattered family with the devastating assumption that Yoshi is drowned. Heartbroken, they have no choice but to keep moving, because out there, stopping means dying.
But then, out of nowhere, a ray of hope. Days later, an injured Mitsue is rescued by a working train. But get this, it's not electric. It's an old-fashioned, coal-powered steam locomotive. Doctors on board start treating her wounds. And then, peering out the window into the distance, they see a miraculous sight. They spot a familiar figure. It's Yoshi, weakened but alive. They stop the train, pull him aboard, and the family is finally, unbelievably reunited.
108. That is the staggering number of grueling, agonizing days it took this family to finally complete their journey and reach the grandfather's village by the river where he was waiting for them, absolutely overjoyed. Once they settle there, their entire paradigm shifts. Pre-blackout Tokyo was complex, highly automated, but emotionally disconnected. Their new post-blackout village life is the exact opposite. It's incredibly simple and requires hard manual labor, fishing, farming, managing the whole household by hand. It's a difficult life, sure, but it is deeply peaceful and completely united. For the first time, they are finally a real family.
And then, the power returns.
Because suddenly, after 2.5 years of this new, dark, but deeply connected reality, the lights come back on. One morning, Yoshi wakes up to the sound of sirens and flickering lights. So, what actually happened? Well, the source of this global blackout was a massive solar flare. It was a sudden flash of intense radiation on the sun that disrupted and knocked out all of Earth's power systems for years. And just like that, the modern infrastructure wakes back up.
The family ultimately returns to Tokyo. Everything around them is back to normal. But here's what's truly fascinating. Their character arc is complete. Yes, they return to the city, but they leave their paralyzing tech addiction behind. The screens are put away, they actually talk to one another, they eat their meals together, they have fundamentally learned to value human connection and time over technology. The crucial takeaway from the Yoshi family's transformational ordeal becomes incredibly clear. Machines are a part of life, but they should never become life itself. They had to learn that the absolute hard way, by having everything stripped away. Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought to consider. If the lights went out tomorrow, who would you become? Would you be helpless, or would you adapt? It's a powerful reminder to check our own dependence on modern technology. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it gave you something incredible to think about.